Hello and welcome to a presentation on Advanced Pick Release Service. With the service, what we want to achieve is to automatically have pick lists generated in SAP from orders that satisfy a flexible set of rules. So in order to do that, this solution comes with an add-on, which is over here, running, that provides an additional option into sales called auto progress rules. This is basically what this is what the service in the background should do with the sales orders. The first rule specifies what kind of orders is he allowed to automatically create pick lists for. Then for each order, it applies rule 1 if these rules can be defined as you would like, but this is just an example with 3 rules. If it approaches the due date within 3 days, then it creates a pick list. If the order is only supposed to go out in 6 months' time, it will leave it alone. Then enough stock, it will check if there's enough stock for the order to actually release it to a pick list, and if the business partner is within credit limit. Stop everything means that the service will not process any more orders while this rule is enabled temporarily. It's meant to have that as a fail-safe stop. Now, the way the rules are written, it is done with SQL queries, and we want to identify which documents, by using a number of where clauses, should be selected for processing. We can even specify in here that only certain business partners, if only certain warehouse codes should be allowed to be taken into account. This is what I was saying about certain business partner codes, which is commented out at the moment. And then we order them by business partner and by date. So we process the oldest ones first, give the stock to them, and then see if anything is remaining for the rest of them. Then the same goes for the rules. There are SQL rules for the due date. We just check if the doc due date, the doc due date is within the next 3 days, including today. And then it passes. So just to give you a short demo of what the service is doing, let's suppose you create a new order, a new sales order in SAP, and you put a due date like tomorrow that we know is going to be a valid due date. It will be selected by the service. It can be today, tomorrow, or the day after. Put some items into it and specify a warehouse that has bins. And for instance, this customer ordered 2 of our products. It can be any number of lines. This is just to provide a simple example of how everything works. So as soon as you add it, we can see if anything happens to it afterwards. There is also a report that we can use to see what the service has processed in the background. So this was not processed yet. We can configure it to check for new orders every minute, every 15 minutes, every hour, as often you would like. Because what only happens is that the query gets executed in the background to select the orders, and then each rule is checked against each order in that list. So now we have a new one for document 406. This will mean the sales order. and it created a pick list number 63. So if I refresh first the sales order, I'll have the pick ID here, and I can just open the pick list by clicking on the button, and it selected the system bin. We can specify also rules for how the bins should be taken into account by using a user-defined table called this, a long name. The bins that the service should take into account. And the way this works is we can specify how a bin starts and how it ends. So if I give them the same name, and then maybe this is test one, A1, S1, L1, so level 1, then the priority for this one is 1. For level 2, which should be higher from the floor, we can specify the priority is 2. With this information, what the service is doing is it's looking first at level 1. If there is stock there for the pickers, it will take that stock first. Otherwise, it will move to level 2 as priority number 2, and it will try to take the stock from there. Otherwise, it will go on and on and on until it finds the stock to allocate. You can even configure it in a way where the pick face, the bottom shelf, easily accessible by the pickers. You can specify that this is only meant for quantities between 0 and 10 or 100, and the upper shelves is between 101 and infinite. Or you can even have like the third level is for pallets between quantities of 200 and 99999. And then that's how the service knows how he should pick up the bins by these simple rules. How the bin starts, how the bin ends, what is the priority for it. As I said, the meaning is at level 1, level 2, and so on might have different priorities. You might have at the bottom boxes easy to grab or products that are easy to grab for small quantity deliveries. And higher up, you might have the pallets, and then that's where the stock should go for large orders. That's where the stock should be selected from. And that's it, really. Using the add-on option to control the service, you can specify with the first rule, as I said, if only certain business partners should have this, or if only certain orders from specific warehouses should have this. Then you can specify any number of rules and enable them from the side that should be applied to an order as a pre-check before creating a pick list. And normally these 3 rules come with the add-on. You can enable or disable any of them by simply unticking that, or create your own rules, specific rules. And then, as I said, as soon as you have an order landing in SAP and is meant to go out, it removes the manual process of creating pick lists. I know this is the same example as before, but it will work for any product that has enough stock. My product here, I know for sure that has enough stock in test 1 warehouse. And that's why I'm using it. And as soon as it's there, service will take it in the background and it will automatically create pick lists for that order. You can even choose to, there are advanced settings as well. If you would like to partially release orders, that means if you don't have enough quantity for all the lines, you can allow it to release to a pick list the lines where you do have enough quantity in the warehouse to deliver, and leave the ones that do not have enough quantity right now, still on the order open. They will still be checked by the service periodically. And as soon as you have stock for the remaining lines, you will create a separate pick list for those. So that's one way you can run the service, allowing him to partially release order lines, or it can be configured so that only orders that have all the lines deliverable are actually released in full to a pick list. So either partial or in full, or dynamically switch between the two modes based on flexible criteria. Again, specified in a SQL query, there is a settings table where this can be specified. And that's how you get pick IDs 64, and it gets monitored with a query that is available in SAP. And with this, you can open straight the pick list or the order that was just released. And that is the end of my presentation for this service. Thank you very much for your attention. If you'd like to have this in a test environment running so you can experiment how it might work for you, there's no problem. It can be easily installed, configured to run with your version of SAP Business One. And you can use it in a trial mode to see if it would work for you or not. And that way you can make an informed decision should you need to buy the software or not buy the software. Okay, that's enough from me. I'll see you next time.